Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. My name is Trisha Barker. I want to talk about how the afterlife is just a reality to me. And I think it is for many near-death experiencers. The minute I stepped out of form, I was convinced, and I was agnostic at the time of my death, but I just knew that this was the shadow, that was the reality. Everything that we're slogging through here and trying to figure out and make sense of is so much clearer once we exit the form. And that certainty is so important to living one's life. And I wish that everybody knew it in the same way that I know it and other people know it, because this is just a series of remembering our connection to love, our connection to divinity, our connection to home. It was so easy to play this out in a classroom as a teacher. So I taught English at the junior high and high school and college level, and I still do teach at the college level. But when I looked out at a sea of students, that's the way humanity is. You know, some come into an English classroom and they can write really well, and, you know, they've had great parents and they're just full of joy and inspiration and ideas about what they want to do. Other people have lost their entire family in drive-by shootings, or maybe they have uh, suffered so much at the hands of their parents and extended relatives. And you know, the gamut runs from the most horrific forms of abuse and violence to young people to these really magnificent, wonderful homes. And you look out and you think, well, of course the student can't write a great paper because they're doing an amazing job of just surviving. And it's so easy to love them and care for them. And if we all had that oneness, if we just looked out at humanity and said, hey, this is the classroom, and you know, death is not such a bad thing. It is just where we see, you know, how we did in the classroom, and we understand what we came here to do, then so many of us would be so much happier. Also, that connection with God and the angels is so healing. And that's one thing that I recognized in my near-death experience, was that angels are healers and they don't get enough credit. So all the things that go wrong in this world, you know, we point and we look at them and we advertise them on the news. But what about these amazing moments that go so incredibly right? What about the person who just at the last minute, before they were going to make a decision to harm themselves or someone else, picked up a book, read something, you know, their mind broke open in this new way. They learned something maybe about meditation or about their connection to other people, and life just changed. So I believe that spreading light and spreading knowledge and spreading healing and spreading understanding about how real the afterlife is vital at this time in history. I mean, it's vital at every time, but there seems to be a lot of talk about conspiracy theories and just so much anger about what is going on. And really, I just like to cut through all of that. Anything that has to do with fear and anything that has to do with negativity is not what we need to focus on. You know, you make a difference by focusing on love, by focusing on what good it can be done in this world, what can be healed, what can be appreciated. And that's where the focus stays. I'm not saying that there isn't room for, I mean, I'm an academic. Of course, there's room for research and study and breakthroughs and all of these examinations of society. But the most brilliant person in the world who is rude to various people and isn't coming from this place of love and, you know, just this true heart desire to instigate change isn't going to instigate as much change as someone who is just fueled by faith and by love and by this desire to do as much good as possible. Now, for some reason, I'm thinking of that Bruce Springsteen song that you can't start a fire without a spark. And sometimes maybe you look out around the world and you think, okay, I would love to see a change where we're not caught in this machine and just doing what's expected of us and never breaking out of it and never creating the world that we really want. Well, these sparks are everywhere, and it's just a matter of linking up with other sparks and creating a movement of great love that just washes across the planet. So, I throw my spark out there and I hope that it catches on, and I hope that I'm a part of this big flow of love and light across the world. That's my ultimate hope. And, you can actually help me by spreading it yourself, by spreading love and joy and peace and happiness in your life. And if you think someone could benefit from this summit, I created this summit because I had this meditation where I saw that, here's the world. And then somehow in my meditation, I opened up this portal to heaven and I brought it to earth. And I saw this is the meaning of what this summit is about. It is about bringing heaven to earth in some small way or large way, because a spark can start a large bonfire. But I want to make a difference in not just the lives of my students, but just in anyone who is hurting. So any pain, I want that switched. I want it healed. I want it relieved. But then, of course, you have to tell me what you want. So, there's that element as well. As a viewer, what is it that you most want from a near-death experience summit? And what is it that you most want in spiritual classes? What are you hoping to switch inside of you? I've talked with some of the amazing speakers who are going to be at the summit, and they sometimes don't know what people are yearning for or what they want most in a class. And if you're really honest with yourself, a lot of times that is something maybe even new that you haven't seen before. So I would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas about what is most important to you and what you would like to hear from near-death experiencers. And I have so many different voices, and I created the summit this way because each one of us resonates with someone differently. Like, I looked at my college, and certainly students would often talk about some of the same instructors and go, oh my God, that class was so fun. But then other people resonated with someone else. And, there's this myriad of professors at a college, and students gain something even from the ones that they don't totally agree with, or they're touched sometimes deeply by one person more than another, but sometimes it's a myriad of people working together that really makes a change. And I've seen that at a good college campus, how when we're all working together in some way, then lives change even quicker, because what they're hearing in one class, they're hearing in another. And so I think there is some overlap of ideas and understanding that is communicated throughout these speakers. I'm a little worried for one of my speakers, Peggy Robinson, and I do have a YouTube video about her experiences, and they're so beautiful. Her childhood NDE and some of the work that she's done with children. But I saw on Facebook that she went into a cath lab, and I just felt this wave of love for her, as I do for anyone and everyone who is undergoing something life-changing or difficult in some way. But more than that, I think that sickness and illness and death of this physical form reminds us how much we love one another and how much we don't express it. So we are so much more one than we realize. And near-death experiencers talk about that often. But we often just feel weird about expressing how much love we have for each other and for this world. But don't hide that. Go ahead and share how much you appreciate your acquaintances and your friends. Like, I love everyone who's speaking at my summit, and some of them I don't even know that well. I'm just excited to hear their stories and interact with them in a slightly different way. So the way the summit is set up, I'm mainly going to let them talk, but I am going to moderate and occasionally pop in depending on their level of comfort that they've communicated to me with different questions throughout the summit. So it won't be quite like these interviews. It will be more like their events and they're speaking, and then there'll be some questions from people who are watching or who have sent in questions ahead of time, or hey, maybe even if you post some at the bottom of this video, some of those questions might get answered in the summit. But please help me contribute to the movement of spreading love and light and healing in this world. And I picked this tagline for my YouTube channel. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's "Be the light of your own healing." The angels showed me that they sent light through the doctors and through their hands into my body. And I realized that life is so much more magical than we could possibly imagine. And so I kind of feel this way about the summit and about so many things that I do in life, that there is so much magic behind the scenes and I can't even see it all, but I know that it's working and I know that it's there. And I want everyone to have that kind of certainty about their lives, that there is so much magic and so much help waiting for you to open to, that, you know, the angels are just waiting for you to call on them. And I know that people get so frustrated because they don't see them or they don't feel it, but this shift is possible. And the more you focus on it and the more you open to it, the more you begin to see the connection. So I won't harp on that too much. Please just help me out. There's a myriad of speakers, so you're definitely going to connect and get something important for your life from more than one of these speakers. So please sign up for the summit or post your questions below, share it with other people who might benefit from it, who've gone through grief or are struggling with something. I believe that near-death experiences and an understanding of the afterlife helps us shift so much in life. So I'd love to hear your questions. I look forward to them, and go be the light and love that this world so desperately needs. That's my wish for you, and that's what I try to do in the ways that I do them. But may you be blessed.